And again, besides for an LA Knight interview and a goddamn tag team match with the Underneath folks, it's been all women all the time on this program. And then in a related instance, we get a tag team title match with Waller and Theory against Ciampa and Same Face, where it's kind of like a mixed tag team match because there's pretty much a female on both teams. Waller on his and Same Face on his.
Hey, why you still killing Waller?
Oh, him.
Give him a chance.
He's ruined me from watching my boy Theory because of his flabby physique and his nerdy goddamn haircut and his general cheesy goddamn fake heel promo delivery and his lackluster work.
Well, if you can get past all of that.
If I can get past that, he's fine.
He's going to give you the Austin Theory babyface run. What do you think of that? That seems to be coming.
I don't know if I like that. I think Theory, because Theory to me is like Luger was when he started, except not work-wise. But he's so big. He's got such a good body. He's got such a fucking, not only a nice face, but an arrogant smile. And he's so good at what he does at such a young age. He's a natural heel. I don't know if I see him as a baby face. Right. And we'll find out.
He does. Anyway, don't you think he does need to change things up, even if you don't see him as a baby face, because this is where he's ended up right now as a heel?
Well, yes.
Something needs to be done.
Yes, I think something definitely needs to be done. He needs to throw his tag team partner at the bottom of Lake Michigan. But yeah, well, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. DIY won, by the way. They did it themselves. So anyway, now we get to the point. Because as soon as Ciampa and Same Face win a thing, they beat Waller, thankfully. Out comes Jacob Fatu, and he levels Theory on the floor, and Waller runs away, and that fits his fucking gimmick. And then Fatu rolls in the ring and levels Gargano and levels Ciampa and hits the incredible pop-up Samoan drop and then does a springboard flip on Johnny and does a triple jump moonsault on Ciampa. And then starts the weed whacker right underneath my office window. Can you hear that?
Yeah, I can't even lie. I hear that.
Okay, good.
Everyone hears that.
Yeah, well, then that's capitalism at work. They're out there working hard trying to earn a living.
That'd be Jacob Fatu's biggest enemy, the weed whacker.
The weed whacker. But basically, he laid out both of the tag team champions and one of the ex-champions, and the other one ran away from him. And looked good doing it. And that, again, it's not just about the moves, because somebody out there is not going to get it. And they're going to, well, why you did the triple jump moonsault? You don't like it on AEW. No, I like it when a fucking main event guy that they are pushing that is coming out and getting over by laying out people can all of a sudden uncork a move like that when he doesn't look like that something like that should come out of that fucking badass body. It's all part of the package. You got to have the other shit too. And then once he lays everybody out, here comes Solo music, and Solo comes out with the Tongas. And he does the in-ring promo. And as soon as he does the deal where Roman used to do, where he's a, acknowledge me, immediately the fans are, we want Roman. They've, again, remember when Roman Reigns was a babyface? And he was the most unpopular son of a bitch. They fucking hooted at him, right? And now they've worked it to where he became such a great heel that now that this other shit's going on, the people can't wait for him to come back, and he hasn't even done anything nice yet. It's brilliant. And, and that's, as Solo says, Jimmy didn't acknowledge me and he's gone. Heyman didn't acknowledge me and he's gone. And Roman Reigns, if he decides to come back, he will acknowledge me. So this is just, Solo has gone mad with power now. This is the the new generation. This is gaudy. He's the flashy fucking Don that wants everybody to know it. Whereas Roman was one of the old-fashioned guys, like the Salernos and the fucking Capistranos and all those people, where they wanted to lay back and run things in an orderly fashion. And he basically said, tonight is Cody's turn to acknowledge me, and they play Cody's music. And he comes to the ring 4-on-1. They're not even pretending anymore. It's like, yeah, we know you want to just see Cody come out and get in a fight, so here we go. And they have the face-off, and the people are chanting, Cody, Cody. And Cody says, we want the same thing. SummerSlam, the WWE title. I'm going to talk to Aldis, but if I could make any decision, I wouldn't wait till SummerSlam. We'd do it here, right here and now, as a babyface, right? And the Bloodline starts circling him, and he starts throwing punches and grabs Solo for the crossroads, and Jacob Fatu stops him with a super kick. And as soon as here comes Orton, he promised he'd be there. And he beats up the Tongas on the floor and ducks under Jacob. So Jacob goes over the top rope and he goes to DDT Solo and he hits it. And Solo didn't know sell it like Jacob Fatu did. And then Randy goes to help Cody up. But there's Jacob back and he stops Orton. And he fucking heels on him. And then dives out on the floor on him. And they tie Cody up in the ropes and they get heat on him and they beat up Orton with the stairs and then they make this is right out of Dusty's playbook. They make Cody watch while Jacob Fatu super kicks Randy Orton over and over, and then they triple powerbomb Orton through the table. And then once Cody's seen all that, Solo spikes him. He's still tied up in the ropes. And Brian, not only is this a Mid-South wrestling kind of angle to go off the end of the show with, off the air, but going back to what we said earlier, in a year from now, when the time is right, Orton can show that video and go, look, I saved your ass from these Samoans, and what happened? Because of you, that's when I got fucking the shit kicked out of me. And what were you doing? You were just hanging in the ropes, not doing a goddamn thing. It all is going to work in whatever way they want it to work.
Yeah, because eventually they got to kind of bring, you would think, the Bloodline stuff all internal. Once Roman comes back, unless Roman's tagging up with Cody, which could be something that builds into something at a later time.
They've got that. They've got that too.
But, you know, when Roman comes back, you would think it's Roman and maybe the Usos and whoever else they have there in their stable. Versus the modern Bloodline, Heyman comes back. Cody's going to need something non-Bloodline related. He's going to need several things. So there's that. And then once Gunther's the other champion, there's another thing down the road.
But that's the thing. Whenever they've got the island of relevancy, all the occupants are battling over that. Cody's got other things going on, and Orton could potentially be for next year's SummerSlam if they wait that long. And you talked about Cena coming back earlier and what's, you know, all these people. And they're setting everything up where this is really incredibly like Dusty Rhodes, a.k.a. Eddie Graham, Bill Watts style of booking, where I'm not suggesting Cody's doing all of it, but it's the same philosophy where Watts and Eddie Graham in their territories, they had decent sized rosters for those days, 20 guys, 22, 24 guys, but they had, and then Dusty had more with Crockett. But you could go to, for the World Tag title, the Midnight Express versus the Rock and Roll versus the Road Warriors versus the fucking Dusty and Magnum. Everybody had different ways they could go. The different horsemen could break off in different combinations and work with the top baby faces because there was always some element of an issue kept going amongst those people. Some bad feeling, some bone of contention. And it's the same thing they're doing here where Tony Khan makes 1 million matches, right? And they come out of the blue, and it's not necessarily ones anybody was asking for. It's just ones that appeal to Tony. And they're not milked till the people want to see them before they're even signed. It's barely that you want to see it after it's announced. But they're creating interest in what would happen if so-and-so wrestled so-and-so before they even get there in the story. And giving everybody multiple interesting opponents that they haven't even had to announce yet. That's booking. It's not matchmaking, it's fucking booking.
One question about all this before we wrap up SmackDown. With Jacob Fatu and how spectacular he is and the reactions he got and how different he is and how real he seems, do you risk, for lack of a better term, him becoming a Jimmy Snuka? Bob Backlund worked with Jimmy Snuka. Eventually, Bob Backlund was getting booed because everyone had to cheer Snuka. He was the cool wrestler. He was the one doing the cool moves. It hurt Backlund. I mean, 1983 was miserable for WWF fans. What do you think? I mean, when I say Jimmy Snuka himself, make himself a babyface just because it's impossible to boo him the more you see him.
But here's the beauty of this. He's inside a group that you don't want to see succeed, even if you like him. And also, with all due respect to Mr. Backlund, the baby faces of today are a little bit more over with this audience, and they're not as tired of them as the WWF fans may have been tired of Bob as he entered his 5th year as champion. And they've got more charisma, and the promos are more important. It's a different audience. What you maybe want is for the people to start at least, well, they already probably do anticipate Fatu's, involvement. And if they're starting to cheer for him inside of this goddamn Bloodline group, at some point, you've got Jacob Fatu versus Solo. If they mistreat him as the enforcer, if they don't give him the respect he deserves, and one day he says, no. So, I mean, they're not making Jacob Fatu a top single heel right now, challenging for the title of to be quite honest, pretty bland, white bread babyface. He's the enforcer of an evil group that's fighting a lot of baby faces with personalities. So he's going to get over, but it's not going to distract.
And down the road, again, you talk about things down the road, him and Solo having problems.
Yeah. And that's, that could be 2 years or however. I mean, there's no reason to rush any of this. But right now, they don't have a problem with anybody being over in the wrong way because they're just almost everybody's over.
Well, SmackDown was over. That was SmackDown.
But Brian, I'll tell you what, if in the old days, back in the old days of the wrestling business, when somebody like Jacob Fatu came along and the fans saw him on television, they'd get on their telephone and they'd call somebody. Generally, their friends who watched wrestling. Did you see that guy? If they didn't see that guy, you got to see this guy. But it would all be by telephone, the old dial-up, the rotary dial. You stick your finger in the hole and you spin it around. It was good practice for a young teenage boy back in those days. But now there's all kinds of ways to call somebody. Brian, you can punch buttons and call them. You can talk into your phone and call them. You can text them. You can write something down and send it to them. You can take a picture and actually just send it right over to people these days, and you don't even have to wait to get it developed. It's an amazing time we live in. I'd like to go back to the old simple times, but we're not going to do that. So we're going to save the fans money. We're going to save the listeners money. We're going to save the cult of Cornette, the people. We're going to save them money. You can call somebody. You can text somebody. You can take a picture and send it to somebody. You can take your cell phone and just sling it like a Frisbee.
Well,
and
no.
it'll come right back to you.
Yeah, don't do that. And that's not what a Frisbee does. That's what a boomerang does.
Well, a boomeranging Frisbee, you can sling it like a Frisbee, but it'll circle around like a boomerang and come right back and land in your hand, but only if you get the deal from Mint Mobile, because that includes the boomeranging Frisbee attachment.
It does not include that in any way.
Fucking app.
No, fucking no, it does not include that. No.
Well, yeah, because Mint Mobile, the guy, Mint, yeah, Mint. He's
Mr.
mobile.
Mint?
He's all over the world, Mr. Mint. He's going mobile. He's going mobile. He is a guy who wants to give everybody everything.
Yes.
Who's next? I'll tell you, Bob O'Reilly is next. Mint Mobile. Anyway, so Mr. Mint wants everybody to have the telephone service that they've got the technology for these days at a fraction of the money that you pay these other big box providers with their big overhead and their big advertising budget, and they're just big. But that means they charge you money, big money. You want to go with Mint Mobile because they won't charge you a mint. They've already got one, Mr. Mint. And they're going to sell you, actually, they're almost going to give it away, a wireless plan, a premium wireless plan for 3 months for $15 a month. And that's a significant savings from what I understand over the other big box retailers. I've still got my wall phone. I just crank the crank and it rings and Sarah picks up and gets me numbers. But if I was to go to one of the new phones, I would go with Mint Mobile. You can agree with that, Brian.
I could agree that if you were going to have one right now, you would have Mint Mobile. There's a lot of things you said that I don't necessarily agree with, or at least I wouldn't apply here, but I agree with that.
Well, I don't know what I've said that you could possibly disagree with. You get the unlimited talk and text where you can write and talk to anybody you want to, as long as they'll suffer your presence and talk to you anytime you want. And it's got the high-speed data, so you can send those pictures of your genitals to everybody in your fucking social circle. And it's got the attachment, this special app where if you sling that thing like a Frisbee, it's going to come right back to you like a boomerang. Just try it and see. Just take your phone and just skip it like a flat rock across the lake. You'll watch it come back to you, I bet you. Anyway, right, you want to know how to do this thing, Brian? You want to know how to get this deal, save this money?
How do you do this thing?
I'll tell you how you do this thing there. You go to mintmobile.com/JCE. That is mintmobile.com/JCE. And they're going to give you this 3-month, well, they're not going to give it to you, but like I said, it's almost giving it away. But they're going to sell you this 3-month premium wireless plan, $15 a month, total of $45. That's 15 times 3. And well, you can just talk your little head off. You can just natter on like a nattering nabob all you want, because it ain't going to cost you a single penny more.
No, it won't.
It will not.
It won't cost you a mint, but it will be Mint Mobile.
It's in mint condition.
Mint condition. Well, what's in mint condition?
Well, the phone plan. It doesn't have any dings or scratches. It works perfectly. And you can take it around different places. That's why it's mobile. See, you don't have to just sit at home. You can actually take your phone with you and use it in other locations now, thanks to the cutting edge technology that Mint Mobile has fucking broken through with.
Hey, as a collector, what's the history of the word mint being applied to perfect condition?
Oh, silly.
Where does it come from?
Silly boy, because when the original collectible that depended on condition were coins. And in mint condition means they are the exact same condition, no scratches, no dings, that they came from the mint.
That makes perfect sense.
And then near mint would be, well, it's almost there, and then you go down from there. But because people have been collecting coins since the 1800s. That was the first grading system.
All those coin collectors like sitting there cursing these fucking stamps. Everyone's now jumping on this shit.
Yeah, and actually, stamps should be not mint, but print. But that's a whole nother thing that you can debate this on the message boards on mintmobile.com with your $15 a month phone plan when you mintmobile.com/JCE.
There are no Mint Mobile message boards, for the record, at least not covering this area.
They've got them on the fucking phones all the time, the message boards. People are on the social phones all the time.
Okay, one more time. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, they're the social phones, right? Where they're on the social media and mobile with them, where they just go everywhere and they go out in parking lots and talk to each other. The kids do.
You know what that means? It's time for the promo code. What is it, Jim?
/JCE. And there is a $45 upfront payment required, which is $15 a month for 3 months. And it's new customers on the first 3-month plan only. We can't just double dip. And speeds are slower above 40 GB on the unlimited plan. I still don't know what the fuck that means. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply if you live in the wrong part of the country where they monitor your communications and things like that. It's all coming to us, folks. We're going to be living in a police state, but see Mint Mobile for all the details. .com.